Welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, our favorite thing in the world, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, although not lately, and probably not like this entire year have I had any sewing content. But you know, it's part of the intro, I have to say it. And generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. It has been 2 weeks. Welcome to the last episode of July. July is almost over, y'all. If you are feeling some kind of way this week, like, oh my gosh, what a year this month has been, and July feels like it's kicking your butt, listen, we are going to take a break from all of that right now. We are just going to settle in, grab your favorite project to work on, grab your favorite drink, something that makes you happy, grab a favorite snack, and settle in, and let's just keep our mind off of everything that's going on in the world so that we can focus on crochet for a minute and maybe take a little breather. Let's just have a breather together, because let me tell you, for no apparent reason, I mean, the reason is I didn't sleep very well last night, but for no reason other than I didn't sleep very well last night, I am so grouchy today. Whew, I had literally had to leave work and go to the gas station and get myself a snack, which is, in case you've never seen these, I discovered these for the first time today, and they are amazing. They're Reese's dipped pretzels. Fabulous. I showed them to my husband, and he also agrees that they are fabulous. Speaking of my husband, if you hear all kinds of crazy noises, he is sawing logs, and I mean that quite literally. I don't mean he's snoring. He is on the other side of the wall behind this camera and in the garage making like a cabinet slash sideboard out of pressure treated wood for outside for our little patio area. And if you don't know, he is a woodworker as well. I say as well, it's not like I woodwork. I do not. He is a maker as well, perhaps, is what I was trying to say. And a good chunk of the furniture in our house has been made by him, like our kitchen table. I've got some shelves. I've got like a shelving unit in the kitchen. It's just, he does great work. So, I'm not cramping his style on a Wednesday, so if you hear noise, it's because he is making things on the other side of the wall. And we will just muscle through all of that. Okay? Now, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find me as the Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. There's a link to all of those directly down below. And if you have anything that you need from me or want to say, or a question or comment or concern, or literally anything about the podcast, please email me. That is the best way to get a hold of me. If you send me a Facebook message, the chances are I will literally never see it. And most of the time I see Instagram messages, but sometimes it gets weird and people slip through the cracks, and I would hate for that to happen. So email me at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com, and then that will ensure that I get your message. Now, I actually have some stuff to show you this week. And I feel like I've had some stuff to show you in the last few podcast episodes, but it's been like really small because I have had zero crochet mojo, zero crojo. But lately, I have been slightly more, I've had a little bit more energy. I still like pass out on the couch after dinner, but like a little bit more energy. So I have actually been working on several different projects, which I'm excited to show you. And before we do all of that, I have a giveaway. Now, many of you know, all of you should know if you're watching this, that there is a tiny human joining our family in December. And therefore, I am going to have to consolidate a little bit. So we were used to, so I live in a 3-bedroom house. It is about 1,300 square feet, including the garage, so not big. There's our bedroom, and then of course there was the bedroom that my brother and his fiance and their 1-year-old were in for quite some time. So they moved out in March, right before everything happened. And then we had a guest bedroom where usually my parents or a myriad of other people would come and stay. It's kind of like the theme of our lives the entire time we've been married, is people staying with us. So my husband works from home. He has worked from home for quite some time. We just have had nowhere for him to put his desk. So it was just in the living room, which of course is difficult because it's a high traffic area, especially when there were other people living with us. And with a baby on the way, we were like, okay, so his desk has got to be out of the living room. It's got to be in a place that can be quiet. So we moved his desk into one of the rooms, and we put the guest bed in there. And then the other room, which is a little bit smaller, will be the nursery / kids' room. We're not doing like a theme or anything, but that means that all of the stuff that was in that room is going to have to come out of that room and be consolidated elsewhere. So I have already gone through our book collection, which is quite extensive. I'm a bit of a hoarder of books. I hoard two things, books and yarn. I'm not getting rid of any yarn, but I was able to pass along like 100 books because I'm just not gonna read them again. And the joy is in reading them, right? Not having them. So I did that. I emptied the entire bookshelf in that room. There's a futon in that room that's going to have to go. And part of what was in that bookshelf was my collection of crochet magazines. Now I picked out a few very special ones to keep, but I don't have room to keep them. And so I'm going to do a giveaway. If you are a person who loves crochet magazines, crochet books, I also have some knitting magazines, knitting books, and you love that kind of thing, you love to have the paper, I also love to have the paper, then this is the giveaway for you. The only requirement is that you actually want them. So like, if you hate magazines, then this giveaway is not for you. But I will open a thread in the Ravelry group, which the Ravelry group for this podcast is linked directly down below. There will be a post in there saying, just tell me whether you would like to be entered for the knit one or the crochet magazines, and I'll show them to you. And if Ravelry is not accessible to you right now, please shoot me an email and I will make sure that you get on that list as well in the total random number generator. So let me show you. There will be, these are all the crochet magazines. Ooh, so many. So there will be 2 crochet packages, and I hate to do this, I really do, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to limit this giveaway specifically to the United States because these weigh a ton, and I almost never limit giveaways like that because I am happy to ship anywhere in the world, but these are really heavy. So what I'm planning on doing is shipping them in a flat rate envelope because I know it will be like $8. So if you're in the US, anywhere in the US, you are welcome to enter this giveaway. And what there will be is 2 sets of crochet magazines. So most of these are like Simply Crochet, and almost all of these I have bought over the years. I love Simply Crochet magazine. I've made many of their patterns. There is a amigurumi book in here in the top because that was how I learned how to do amigurumi for the first time. You'll see this magazine has like a bookmark in it because I was doing a pattern. So there's all of these and all of these. This is a lot of crochet magazines. They are from, let's see, for Simply Crochet I have issue 46, 52, 70. I have issue number 5. That's from a long time ago. There is an interweave magazine. There's a crochet with an exclamation point. So all of these, that will be split into 2 most likely. And then if you are a knitter and you would prefer knitting information, I have this collection of knitting information as well. So there's some knit magazines and knit books. Like, for example, a book of knit blankets. I probably won't be making those. So I just need to pass them along. So it will be a surprise what you get because I can't hold up every single magazine. If you would like to win those, just go to the Ravelry group, or if Ravelry is not accessible to you, please shoot me an email at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com and tell me whether you would prefer to be entered in the knit or the crochet as long as you're in the United States, and I will draw winners on the next episode. And then all of those, the last bookshelf, the last shelf in the bookshelf in the baby's room will have been emptied, which is crazy to think. We also have some make-alongs running, which I am going to talk about 2 of in the episode, provided I don't forget. So I will talk about the one that I currently have no projects on. Actually, I think I do. Let's just get started, shall we? I have a finished object, and not just a finished object, I have 2 finished objects. I know, mind-blowing. It feels like I haven't had a finished object in a year, even though I know that that's not true. I know it's an exaggeration, but I have had so little motivation and so little energy, and I have been feeling so bad. that I haven't completed very many things in crochet or knitting or anything else in life, honestly. So to have a finished object is just delightful. So the first finished object I'm going to show you has been languishing since January. Yes, January. And some of you will automatically know what it is. It is a pair of socks for the Wizarding Mal 2020, which is a Mal co-hosted by Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast and myself. And there is a prompt for each month all about magic and wizarding, and it is a sock and sewing make-along. As you can see, I have failed miserably at sewing anything this year, and I have also failed miserably at making socks. This is my January socks called Choose Your Wizard. I just finished them, and they just have been, I feel so bad for this pair of socks. It's never taken me that long to make a pair of socks. 7 months? Are you kidding me? For one pair of socks? And they're just plain socks, there's no pattern. So I finally pulled them out last week and I was like, you know what? There is 3/4 of a foot left. That's it. I can finish these socks. So I just diligently worked on it every day until they were done. So they were living in this popsicle bag, which was a gift from Claudia. This is one of my favorite bags of all time. It's by Slipped Stitch Studios, which if you don't know about their bags, they're just fabulous. I love Slip Stitch Studios. I think their bags are worth every penny. I've had this bag for years now. It has been with me, excuse me, literally all over the world. I have taken this bag on travels and it's been through the washing machine because it's been around the world, and it's just delightful. I love this bag. And in here is my leftover yarn. This is Hobie Yarn Antarctica in the colorway Polar. And the contrast toes, heels, and cuffs are Hobie Yarn Happy Feet in just a light gray, which this yarn is actually a little bit thinner than this yarn. So I'm interested to see how the heels, toes, and cuffs wear on that. Let me put them on sock blockers so you can see. I mean, it's literally just a pair of socks, but I'm so proud that they are actually done. And I'm not even gonna put a new set of sock yarn in that bag because clearly my sock mojo is at an all-time low. I'm just gonna hold. Here they are. I love them. I can't believe they took me so long to finish. What is happening? There we go. So this is what they look like. So excited. So the color repeat is like from here to here. So it's quite long, actually from here to here. So I did have to wind some off, but I made these, I don't know how long that cuff is, long enough for me. So I just had to wind some off to get back to the start, because this ends up like right here when I finish the first sock. So what I did is I cast on 64 stitches using a 2.25 millimeter needle, Chalgu red lace 9-inch circular, and I did 15 rows of 2x2 rib. Then I did a bunch of stockinette, I don't know how long, put in a fish lips kiss heel, and then did the toe. And the funny thing about the toes, which I will show you when I take them off the sock blockers, is I did Mina's rounded toe from her 2 at a time sock recipe, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And one of the toes is smaller than the other because I decreased more stitches. One of the toes, I think I went down to 12 stitches, and one of them went down to 8 because I made them so many months apart. This one was done like months ago. This one was done last week. So the toes are a couple of rows off from each other, but I think that they'll be fine. I'm just delighted to have them off my needles. So delighted. Okay, let's see if I can show you. Oh yes, you'll be able to see. So this is sock toe number 1, and this is sock toe number 2. Do you see how much smaller this is than this? It's ridiculous. Like I could have told that if I like even looked at the sock while I was making them, but I didn't, and I bound them off and I Kitchenered the toe shut, and now it's just that way forever. But who cares? They're gonna be on my feet. So socks are done. So excited. That is finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 I didn't even start. You didn't even see this one last time. Some of you will know. Well, some of you will know. I don't know why I keep saying that. Some of you shall know, if you have watched this episode before, this podcast, that my most recently released pattern was called the You're Not Alone cowl. And my goal with that was for us to use that cowl pattern to make it for other people, to spread the warmth. It's easy, it's quick, it uses worsted weight yarn. So I have a friend, and I have wanted to make a cowl. I wanted to make one for someone else the whole time, but I have a friend who is going through a really hard time, and she found out she probably has a rare autoimmune disease, and she may be losing sight in one eye. So she's really having a difficult moment in the midst of this crazy difficult moment that is 2020. So I wanted to make her a You're Not Alone cowl so that she knows she's not alone, and I love her very much. So I don't have, the pattern is written in worsted weight yarn. I don't really have much worsted weight yarn in my stash because I mostly use DK, sport weight, and fingering weight yarns because it's Florida. So I went looking, and Maria of Fat Bunny Yarn had sent me a box of yarn to use for prizes or whatever I wanted recently. And in there was 2 skeins of Wool Ease Tonal, which is technically a number 5 bulky. So it's more like an Aran weight, I would say, than a worsted weight. I don't think it's a true bulky weight yarn. It's not like plump. It's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. It is completely machine washable and dryable, which was key because I don't want her to have to worry about ruining it or it felting or shrinking or anything like that. This is the colorway Coffee, and you get, for 113 grams, you get 124 yards. I dropped that. I dropped it once already, and I just dropped it again. Did you know, if you're pregnant or have been pregnant, you know this, but if you're not, this may be news to you, that when you are pregnant, your ligaments relax so that your whole body can become flexy and stretchy so that you can have a baby. Well, that includes your fingers and your hands. So therefore your grip goes away, and I cannot even tell you how many things I keep dropping. I am dropping literally everything all the time, and I drop things on a regular basis already, so it's even worse. It is even worse. So I used 2 skeins of that yarn, and I have this much left. I don't know how many grams that is, but I'm pretty happy with that. And this is what it looks like. Oh, I love it in the heather, so it kind of makes the texture like more subtle when it has back here, but when I get it close, you can definitely see that texture. You can also see, I think, the halo around that yarn because I washed it and dried it, so it's a lot more drapey now. I did not, because this is a bulky weight yarn and not a worsted that I made the pattern in, I didn't really follow the stitch counts in the pattern. I literally just made it till I thought it was wide enough and then worked it until I thought it was tall enough and then finished it off, which you can totally do with that pattern. I have no idea, like I can't even tell you where the round begins and ends, especially because of the marling. And that's what it looks like. It's nice and fluffy. It'll keep your face warm. I love it. I love it, and I think she'll love it. It'll go with many things in her wardrobe. So this took me 4 days. 4 days? Pretty sure this took me 4 days to complete. And I only worked on it like at night a little bit. When my testers did this, one of them completed it in a day. One day they made this cowl. When I made the original sample, I think did it in 3 or 4 days. So yeah, this is the You Are Not Alone cowl. It will not be living with me. I just need to take a photo, and then I'm planning on going to the post office tomorrow to mail this to her. Because of the virus, I don't know when I'll be able to see her next. So I'm just really excited. And I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone who has bought a copy of that pattern and made them for your friends, your family, your loved ones, yourself. It's a really good way to spread the warmth right now. And people need it. People need to know that they're not alone and that they're loved. So that is my finished objects, which I am thrilled to have. now we shall go on. I have some works in progress. I should say also, what am I wearing? This is a cardigan. I did a big purge of my cardigans and sweaters earlier this year. At some point in the past, I did a big purge and I got rid of most of the stuff that either doesn't fit me perfectly or is just way too hot to wear in Florida, or I don't like exactly, didn't turn out the way I wanted it. This is one of the ones that I kept because I love this cardigan. I love everything about it. It is called the Summer Diamonds Kimono Cardigan. It is by Chiwe, who is One Dog Wolf. When I made this pattern, I got it for free off of her blog. It is a one size pattern, or at least it was then. And it has the stitch repeat so that you could very easily make this in any size, like tiny baby up to as big as you want. So this is what it looks like. I wear this all the time to work, and I especially wear it when it's raining, and it rained all day today pretty much. So I've been wearing it all day, and I think it looks extra good with my red shirt underneath it. So, very exciting. I made this out of Michael's yarn, Loops and Threads, Joy DK. Is that Loops and Threads? It's Joy DK anyways. It's the DK yarn that they came out with like a year ago or 2 years ago. I love this yarn. I have worn this so many times. It doesn't have a single pill anywhere on it. It is not fuzzy. It does not split. It is fabulous. I would totally make another sweater out of it. It is held up beautifully. And I do not have room in my life. Yes, let me go on a rant here for a second. I do not have room in my life for any sort of yarn snobbery. Acrylic is a-okay with me. That is all I could make things out of for the longest time, because that's all that was in the budget. And the only reason I am making things out of fancy yarns, as I call them, at the moment is because of your generosity. So many people have donated yarns to this podcast, and the reason that I am able to design the way that I do or use the yarns that I do is because of all of you. This is what I would be making things out of. For example, like this entire sweater probably cost, I think I used 6 balls. So I don't know how much they are off the top of my head, but I want to say this sweater cost me about 30 bucks in yarn, which of course is the price of one indie dyed skein, which I think is totally worth the money. But if you need 6 of them, that can be quite cost prohibitive. Another cardigan that I wear constantly is the Ariana cardigan by Vicky Chan, and 3 skeins of that yarn were a gift, and I bought 3. So they were about $10 each. So that cardigan also cost about $30. But if I had bought all 6 of them, it would have cost about $60, and that was a Knit Picks wool yarn. So I am all for affordable yarns. There will be no acrylic shaming on this podcast whatsoever. Whatever you can make with, whatever. And some people actually have, you know, allergies to wool. And that's part of one of the reasons that I didn't dip my toe into wool for a very long time, is because I really thought I would be too sensitive to it. Turns out I'm not, but I thought that I would be. So I was kind of like scared. I was always looking for acrylic or cotton or something like that I knew wouldn't make me itchy. And this never makes me itchy. So just a small rant to say, fabulous luxury yarn is beautiful and should be bought as long as you have the resources for it. And acrylic yarn is beautiful and should be bought as long as you have the resources for it. Whatever you can make with whatever you can make will be gorgeous and celebrated as long as you are here. Let's see. I will show you the sock. I have made a little bit of sock progress. So this is living in my other slipped Stitch Studios bag. It is Rainbow Llamacorns. And I have a finished sock. And my yarn is caught. And I dropped it on the floor. This is gonna be the episode where I drop literally everything. So you will know. I'm making some mommy and me baby socks. So these are the 2 baby socks. They're so cute. The yarn is Hufflepuff yarn by, I believe, Nora George Yarns. This yarn was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Lydia, who came all the way from the UK. So I finally pulled it out to make something very special, which is these baby socks. And for the adult socks, I'm doing the contrast toes, heels, and cuffs in this black fingering weight yarn that another viewer of this podcast named Kim sent to me. So I have finished a sock. I have finished a sock. And then I promptly put it down because I got distracted by a different project. But when I say finished, I mean finished. The ends are woven in and everything. Look at this. I know everyone, when I wear this, is gonna be like, oh, it's like a bumblebee. No, it is a Hufflepuff colorway because I am a Hufflepuff. I think last time I was like here or something. So I've done like all of this. Same sock method, 64 stitches, 15 rows, 2x2 rib. I did this much. Fish lips, kiss heel, and then the foot. And Mina's rounded toe for the toe. So then I immediately cast on and did the cuff of the second sock because I did not want this sock to stall out and languish for 7 months. These need to be done obviously before the baby comes. So I have this much yarn left and I need to make an entirely other sock, which hopefully will happen. It is going to be a priority. I'm really into stripes right now. So I just love, I'm so happy. This is the only baby thing I have made so far is these tiny socks. Although I do have plans to make a tiny Gramps sweater for the baby. And I just need to finish a major project first because my brain feels cluttered with whips. So that is work in progress number 1. Work in progress number 2 is also knitting, and then the other 2 will be crochet. This, of course, is the project that I have been showing for years. 2 years now, probably more. It's the transition shawl by Hand Knit by Cam. You will know if you've been watching that I have been struggling with the border. This one pass brioche border. The yarn that I am using is Valley Yarns, which is a Webs yarn. Valley Yarn is their yard brand. Charlemont, which is 60% merino, 20% silk, and 20% nylon. And this is the colorway Dusk. Last time, let's see how many rows I've done, because I've done more than you would think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done 7 rows on this border since the last time you saw me. And considering each row takes me an entire episode of something, like 45 minutes to do, that is a lot of time. That's like 1 row, half of the days since the last podcast. It's crazy. So I have 4 more border rows. I don't know that I'm going to have enough yarn to do 4 more border rows and the bind off. So I'll show you. I need to weigh is what I need to do. This is how much I have left. That might, I don't know. I don't know if that's enough for 4 more rows plus the bind off. If it was just 4 rows, I think it would be good enough, but I need to weigh this, do a row, and then weigh it again. Because if a row is like 4 grams or something, 8 grams, I need to multiply that by 4 to do the stretchy bind off. And that will give me how many rows. But I didn't feel like weighing it, so this did not get worked on last night. Let's see. This is where we are. Well, it doesn't look like 7 rows now, does it? But I promise it's 7 rows that I've done. And this is the shawl. It's a hexie shawl. It is very smooshed on my needles. In fact, I need to grab the needles because I don't want the stitches to be going anywhere. This is my Mission Impossible Mal project, which is another make-along that we have running for the entire year of 2020. It is to do something that really challenges you or that feels impossible. And I will tell you, this has been a whip for literally 2 years. I wanted to make it because it's frankly just gorgeous. But knitting and purling a 4 skein fingering weight stockinette shawl feels impossible. And then ending with brioche, which I don't even like. I like the look of it, but I don't like to do it. This is my Mission Impossible Mal project. And it's so close to being done. 4 rows in a bind off, although the bind off is probably gonna take me like a week by itself because there's 680-ish, 618, 680, over 600 stitches on the needles. And that is a massive amount of stitches. So you should be shocked by the amount of progress that I have done on this. It's simply massive and magical. I'm going to shove it back in the bag. Of course, after the bind off is done, then I have to weave in all the ends, of which there are approximately 1,000. So I just want it to be finished. And once it's finished, then I am planning on starting a Gramps sweater for the baby. But I don't want to have any more knitting projects on the go at the moment until this one is done. Because if I do, I will get easily distracted and just simply not work on that at all. And it will sit there for another 6 months before I do the last 4 rows to the bind off. The next project I have is for the Year of Classics 2020. That's the final make along we have running, and that is to make things that will actually fit in your wardrobe and that you will actually wear, much like I wear this cardigan all the time. Now, the cardigan that I am working on is the Angela cardigan by Vicky Chan. I know that that's a terrible black and white photo, but I will show you the yarn that I am using. This is the 3rd ball of yarn for this cardigan. And this is why I say there's no acrylic shame here. This is Loops and Threads Wool-like, which is a light fingering weight. You get like 670 something yards per ball. And it's 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. This is my 3rd ball, and I am almost positive, I'm like 98% sure that I will be able to finish this cardigan with this ball of yarn. So even if it took you 4 balls of yarn to make this cardigan out of this yarn, that would be, this yarn's like $3 a ball, $12. So at the moment, this cardigan is costing me $9. It's not done yet. I'm terribly sorry. The border is just taking 9,000 years to do. And I am all tangled. Okay. So it is inside out at the moment while I am working the border. And all of these strings, this is what it looks like. It is a mesh cardigan. This is where I was last time, where this little stitch marker is. So I have done all of this border around the collar, and I have this much left. So I find this border impossibly tedious to do. I will literally sit down and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do 1 inch. And then usually I'll end up doing 2, but anything beyond that, and I get really, really tired of it really, really quickly. I just do not like. It is worked in the 3rd loop. Oh, I find this border so irritating, but it's so worth it. Look at how beautiful it is. So once this collar is done, I'm going to do the same cuff on the 2 sleeves. So there'll be like 1 inch of this ribbing on each sleeve, and then weave in all the ends, and then it will be done. So it's a little off kilter at the moment, but here it is. It's kind of rumply and crumply. I need to like reblock this area a little bit, and it's a little bit stiff because it needs a wash and it needs a tumble in the dryer for a bit, but I will be wearing this so much. I'm sorry if you keep hearing that ding. Apparently the ringer on my iPad, which is way in the kitchen, is turned up loudly and people are blowing up my phone. So this is what it looks like. This border is killing me, literally killing me. This is another huge project that I really, really want this off my making list so that I can wear it, but also so that a huge whip will be done and I can maybe focus a little bit more on some other things. So it's a gorgeous, if you don't mind. The whole project has been tedious, honestly, but it's worth it. This is the kind of project that we need to make for the Year of the Classics, because I know that once this is done, I'm going to basically live in it. It's my favorite color. It is lightweight. It's breathable for Florida, and I'm going to live in it constantly. I just need to finish it. That is a perfect project for the Year of Classics. And I even put a button on my bag that's holding it that Claudia has the best buttons of all time, and I will leave a link to her Etsy shop down below. It says, "You've got this," because I don't feel like I've got it because I hate working on that collar so much, but it will be worth it. I promise it will be worth it when it's done. I'm so excited. I would imagine it's going to be another couple of episodes before that's done, just because of the border. I only do like this much at a time. This much. The last project I have to show you is one that got unmade in the last episode, and it has progress now, and it is what it was meant to be all along, and I'm so thrilled. It's living in currently one of my most favorite bags, Cottage Crochet, Mrs. Brown's bag, which was given to me by Amanda, who is a patron. Another symptom of pregnancy is pregnancy brain, where I haven't been like losing things or like, that's not a symptom that I get. My problem is literally in the middle of sentences, the words will leave my mind forever. And I have no idea what I was saying. Let's hope I can make it through this podcast. So the yarn that I am using is Yarn on the Prairie. Yarn on the Prairie. Colorways Voltage. Whoa. And Electric Blue. Yeah. This yarn, this project, it has a saga. It has been many things and then ripped out and then finally it was what it was supposed to be, but I didn't swatch. So I knew after doing a bunch of math that I was going to run out of yarn. So I pulled the whole thing out. I did a bunch of math and I reworked the design a little bit. And then I did a swatch, which I've since ripped out because my math seems to be working. But I did a swatch and then I started again. And this is currently what it looks like. Now, originally I was going to have a long double loop cowl, like that was this wide. But there was no way I was gonna have enough yarn for that with two, I should have done a gauge swatch. So then I was like, maybe I can make it skinnier, but I still didn't think I was gonna have enough yarn. So instead I worked out the math and it's going to be it is a tube cowl, but it's only gonna go once around the neck, and it will be like when you put it on, it's gonna be like this kind of, so it could be over your nose or it could be under. And I have a name for it already and I have a story for it. And one of the things about the color changes, of course you could make this in a solid color if you want, but I love the blue and the green together. I feel like makes them both pop even more. And you just carry the yarn up the inside because it's a tube. So no ends to weave in. There's only the two at the beginning so far. And it is worked in a spiral, which of course you see this jog, but because it's a tube, that will be on the inside. No one will see it. And just look at the texture. The texture is my favorite thing about this. Love the texture so much. And it will grow a little bit as well once it's blocked. It's gonna be dense because it's double layered, but not so dense that you couldn't wear it like in the fall. Love it. It is what it was supposed to be. And that's what I was saying last time. Sometimes when you know something isn't right, you just have to bite the bullet and frog it. And this is what it was meant to be all along, and I'm so excited. So I'm probably, let's see, how many rows? I'm about 20 rows in, so I'm like a fifth of the way done. So exciting. So it'll be worth it. This is the project that I immediately abandoned those socks for because I finished swatching and then I was like, oh yes, this is what it needs to be. It's so good. Now, what I have left to talk about, I have some happy mail, but it is happy mail related to the tiny human that I am growing. So we might as well just go straight into the bump date, which is an update on the bump of the baby that I am growing. And do you know what's crazy? I'm in, as I record this, week 19. And that means that there will be probably a maximum of 10 more bump dates and then I'll have a baby. 10 more episodes. That's crazy. So this is what it looks like currently. It has grown. It has definitely grown since the last 2 weeks. there is a baby in there. I can feel it now. Usually not during the day, but when I lay down to sleep at night, right before I go to sleep, like if I lay really still for maybe like 10 minutes, I'll start to feel it. And then I go to sleep. But it feels like, it's almost like a bubble popping combined with like a nudge, just like a little poke. And the first time I felt it, I was like, I instantly knew it was a baby because I've never felt like anything like that in my life ever so far. So I was like, oh, and then it happened, it kept happening, like it kept kicking me. And then I had to get up and pee because that is my life now. I literally spend 24/7 going to the bathroom. So annoying, but it didn't like that I got up. So when I lay back down, it was on the other side, kicking me over there. But it seems to be mostly right here. This is where I keep feeling it, like right in this area. So it's just like smushed down to the right at the moment. My next appointment is on the 31st of July, which also happens to be my husband and I's anniversary. I didn't even realize that when I was making the appointment. That's just what they had available. So hopefully the baby will cooperate and we will be able to see what it is. And then, I don't know, I'm just excited. So it's really neat to feel it. I guess I felt a little bit better, but not great. Like I don't feel great. And today was kind of difficult. I have prescription nausea medication now. So if it gets really bad, I can take one, which significantly helps my life. I would say I have a little bit more energy finally, but it's all like during the day when I'm at work, I have more energy. But by the time I get home at night, I'm still like on the couch. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is life now, I guess. For 10 more bump dates and then I'll have a human and then I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I got some happy mail. One was a really cute card that came all the way from Alaska, which is where Seta of Seta's Place lives. And she sent me a Meyer lemon tea, which I love. So very exciting. And I am pretty sure that she handmade this card. It's beautiful. So thank you, Seta. That was very sweet of you to send me a congratulations card. And I also got 2 boxes in the mail, and they are the first baby things. Like total. I was gonna say that I've received, but like a total, they're the first baby things. Aside from one of my friends saw a package of 2 bibs that was on sale and bought them and gave them to me a while ago. But like this is the first, like specifically, you know what I mean. It's like the first specific thing. So I'm just gonna show you. There's no particular order. Just gonna show you one and then the other. Ooh, because they're just delightful. The first one is from Alicia. Or Alicia? Is it Alicia or Alicia? It's so hard to tell on the interweb. So she also sent just a beautiful, sweet card. And a box full of goodies. She sent, I have to set this over here so that I can show you. A baby blanket in blue, which of course is my favorite color. This is way prettier than any baby blanket I would make. I just make like corner to corner baby blankets. It is washable, thank God. And it has this cute, beautiful border. And I really just like it a lot. And I showed it to my husband and I was like, someone sent us a handmade baby blanket. And he like doesn't care about crochet really. And he was like, and then I pulled it out and he was like, all right, pretty nice. So I'm only saying is you won him over. That's hard to do. So this is beautiful, but that wasn't all that was in the box. There was also some washcloths, some cotton washcloths, which I will wash and put away and use for the baby to give it baths because so pretty. And then a lovey. And this is the most unique lovey I have seen, because the loveys that I've seen have like an attached head, and then they have this part, and this is made out of the same yarn as the baby blanket. However, this is not attached, so that when this gets disgusting and thrown up on or pooped on or drooled on or whatever it's going to happen to it, she actually did this on an elastic, so I can take this off and wash it without damaging this guy. I imagine he'll have to be washed at some point too. Let's see what his name is. Beanie babies always have a name, right? Oh, his name is Waddles. Look at his feet. So I just thought that was a really unique, like I haven't seen that idea before, to take like a Beanie Baby or a little stuffed toy and make a lovey out of him, but I really like it. So thank you so much. Very, very special. Very special. And then the other thing that came, also incredibly special, came from a person named Emmy, who is just too kind. And actually the funniest thing to me is they had the same kind of, the parcels arrived within days of each other, and they had the same tissue paper, which is sparkly. Like, you guys just know each other? What's happening? So what is in here is bibs, because you can never have too many bibs. I am definitely going to be a bib person. I know a lot of people are no bib people, but I cannot stand baby drool. And I have worked in like daycares. I've been holding babies since I was like, as soon as I could hold a baby, I was holding babies. Babies need bibs so you can just go and not wipe it on yourself. Ew. I mean, if that's your only option, okay, but bib with whales, bib with giant whale, and bib with tiny whale. So bibs. And that wasn't all the bibs. There's also two more bibs. One that's just kind of just gray, and then this one that has sheep on it. So of course the sheep one is my favorite one of all time. And you can definitely not have too many bibs, in my opinion, as a person who has not had a child at this point. But in my opinion, you cannot have too many bibs, because you could go through like 3 of those in one day if it's a bad day, you know? There's also a sleep sack, which I have not opened because I was waiting to open it with all of you. So I'm going to pull it out right now. This is what it looks like. So you put the baby in it, and then you zip them up. And when you need to change their diaper, you unzip them. And their feet are in here, so they feel, you know, contained. So I love it. And of course it has sheep on it, so it's the best. And then, well, there were some caramel candies. I missed this one. The rest of them have been eaten. But she wrote me this note and was like, I think you'll be getting some crocheted items, most likely, for this baby. But I wanted to make you something that was like a little cooler. Not cooler like cool bro, but like cooler temperature-wise. And her mother makes quilts. So she enlisted her mom to make a quilt for this baby. And this is what it looks like. It is a baby quilt. And now that really makes me want to buy a crib so that I can put it together and then hang this over the edge. Like so. So this is like 1/4 of the quilt size. So it will definitely be big enough even while baby is growing, like as a toddler. It will be. And of course this is machine washable as well. But if you look closely, you can see that it's little mail, like little mails, envelopes, little packages with hearts on them. And on the inside, it says, "Sending love from Minnesota," embroidered. And something that's very special to me also, this is the back fabric. which I think is very cool, is that when her mom makes these, she prays over them. So it's kind of like a prayer quilt type of thing. Like you would make a prayer shawl or something. And I try and not keep talking without getting emotional, because I am very emotional about these two gifts. The thing that is really special to me about that is, as a person who faith is important in my life, and I'm a pastor, if you don't know, of a little bitty inclusive church in St. Petersburg, Florida, on top of my day job. I'm a pastor of a church, and our whole thing is dedicated to making a space where all people can feel safe to explore faith. And I don't know, it means a lot to me that not just that somebody made that quilt, but that it is full of love and prayers from another state, and that one as well. So I can't do this. I do not want to get emotional right now, because then I just won't stop. I'm like a fountain at the moment. So I will not cry. No. Just no. Thank you very much. Amy and your mom and Alicia, thank you from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of this tiny person's heart who doesn't even know how loved they are already. Thank you very much. And they're just really, really special. And I'm really excited. Really excited. I'm not feeling that much better physically, but I am feeling a little better emotionally about it, I guess. Not that I was feeling horrible about it to begin with. I just am, I guess, allowing myself the space to be happy and to be joyful about this thing that's happening. I need to stop talking about the baby. Bump date is over, okay? We are not crying. There's no more emotions. I think that's all, honestly. I did some crocheting. I did some knitting. We've got the giveaway. We got Happy Mail. We're growing a human. It's the last episode of July, and I am losing my mind, I think. So I guess I should sign off, honestly, and maybe eat some food, because it's 6:30 and I'm hungry. So if you like this episode, I always forget to say this. If you like this episode, do give it a thumbs up. That just helps me know and helps YouTube know that I'm putting out some content that is valuable to you. If you'd like to be kept up to date on future episodes, they come live every 2 weeks on a Saturday morning. You can hit the subscribe button down below. And I will be back in 2 weeks. It will be August 1st, I think, for the next episode. No. Yes? No. Yes, it will be August 1st. If it's not August 1st, then whatever's 2 weeks from the day you're watching this, which will be Saturday, there will be a new episode, and just all very exciting things happening in the world. And hopefully with a new month will come not as many ridiculousness, not as much my words are failing. I clearly need to end. Love you all. Until I see you again, happy crafting, be kind to yourself, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, friends.